This episode brought to you by Q Communications. When things are good, you will be hearing from us. Guaranteed to work for the first 6 weeks.
All right, good afternoon and good evening, everyone. My name is Neil Blakemore, the host of About That podcast, and we're getting ready for week 11. With me, as always, is Mr. Luis Cruz in the building. We also have a special guest today, Jesse, Team Hialeah Mafia in the house as well. Jesse, Cruz, how we doing today, boys?
Woo woo!
I'm doing
Feeling like
well.
a champion.
I'm doing well.
Almost.
I'm glad that Jesse is here with us this week. So it should be fun.
Absolutely, I think it should be. Yeah. Jesse, you had a nice little ad last week talking about your team. So I want to give you about 30 seconds or a minute, and let's talk about Jesse's team. Jesse, I want you to tell me and tell us and tell the listeners why Jesse has the best team. Let's hear it.
Pretty easy. The new and improved Hialeah. No longer we don't reside on the west, we reside on the east. The new and improved Hialeah Mafia. With a sleeping team, with a sleeper. I told this Cruz this like in about a week 4, week 5, and I'm like, hey man, my team is looking like the sleeper. So and I'm glad I'm living up to my expectations. Second place in the standings, 6-3. Never happened before ever in my life, so it's a good feeling.
Well done.
My
I'm glad
pleasure.
you're moving up. I'm glad you got to it was east side now of Hialeah. Is that where we're at? All right, perfect. Let's go into a little recap by Luis Cruz from last week's notes. Luis, can you hit us with it?
I can, sir. Okay, so let's start with Metropolis Sharks versus Lucho Maniacs. Metropolis Sharks won 153 to 123. Canadian Tigers scored 87 points, and that was enough to beat Team Haitian Killer 82 with 82 points. Team Casa lost to Team Brewery 104 to 78. Above average Ditkas against the guests of this week. Above average Ditkas had a close game and he lost 100 to 97. Then you have Tar Nation with 53 points, ouch, and Funsies with 127. And then you had Mata Italia with 156 points versus the Brady's Bunch with 71 points. That leads us into our standings. We have Team Haitian Killer, number 1 with 7 wins and 2 losses. Then you have the Metropolis Sharks, the Brewery, and Team Hialeah Mafia, all with 6 wins and 3 losses. You have Tar Nation and the Funsies with 5 wins and 4 losses. Then you have Brady's Bunch, Team Casau on the 7th and 8th spot with 4 wins and 5 losses. Then you have Mata Italia, the Lucho Maniacs, and Canadian Tiger with 3 wins and 6 losses. And then above average Titkas with 2 wins and 7 losses. That is the current status of our league.
Yeah, it looks good. What are your thoughts on that status, Jesse? If you just take a look at it, any thoughts on that?
I would say it's pretty accurate. The top teams are the better teams. The standings are good. I agree with them. I like my spot.
All right, yeah, you're up there at the top. Well done.
Well, I mean, I just want to point out that the only close game that we had was the above average Titkas and the Team Hialeah Mafia. That was fun. Last night I was paying attention to that game, and Big Ben came through for our guest of this week. And yeah, we'll see. It was a weird week, I think, in the NFL. Like the NFL was doing some crazy things. It seems like all the top teams took the week off or something. You have Josh Allen playing horribly, and then you have injured players on buys. So that's why we had very low numbers as well overall in the entire league, I think.
Yeah, and so before we get to the interview with Jesse here, I did want to mention too the top dog in our league. Ricardo took a big hit with Derrick Henry going down, which we talked about. and it showed. He only put up a measly 82 points, and he lost to the worst team in the league. So he can't feel great about his team, even though he's pumping the chest like he still has the best team. But I don't know. Going forward, is he going to struggle?
I like what Rob said. I want to give a shout out to Rob because he said he told Ricardo, "You're one Cooper Cup hamstring away from missing the playoffs." And I think that's accurate, and I think it's funny. So, good job, Rob.
Yeah. And Jesse, what do you think about Ricardo's team coming back down to the pack?
Honestly, I think it's great. I cannot. Nah, I'm just playing. It's tough. It must hurt really big.
Yeah,
I would
that's for
never want to
sure.
be in that position. You know, injuries are probably the worst. But he can't quit. He has to keep on
Yeah.
striving.
Oh, that's I can't quit. You're right. We'll get to that lead up in a moment. But first, I want to do an interview with Haile Mafia here. So, Cruz, can you start us off with some of the questions?
Sure. I think the first question that we want to know is, Jesse, how did you join our league? Because you're not a founder. You started with playing with us, I think, kind of halfway through our whole thing. So how did you join our league?
So I joined the league, I believe, in 2016. I was actually looking at my previous team since I started, and man, did I draft some crappy players. So pretty much, when I started the hotel back in 2015. You know, getting to know everybody little by little. Neil, eventually, we just got close when it came to talking about football, and eventually he told me like he had this football league, and I never ever was in a football league until this one. So this is my first ever. This is the one that started it all. This is like my this is my home. This is my main league always, and it will always be my main league. Um, was a simple invite from our commish.
Right on, man. Right on,
Very
brother.
grateful, very grateful to be
Now,
here.
yeah. Now you did mention that. Yeah, you beginning stages you drafted horrible teams. So how has that changed? What is your drafting strategies now?
So definitely, I feel a lot more confidence when it comes to draft days.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, going with my gut feeling. I've last couple of years I've done little research on anything that's going on like to the very last minute.
Clearly.
Um, keeping up, well, my strategy is always picking a player that isn't a good team. That's one of my
Okay.
strategies. Pick those players are always, always being talked about through ESPN or this and that.
Hmm.
Um, Pretty much is always just I don't want to say too much on my strategy, but depending on where your draft pick is,
Yeah.
it goes based upon my pick. Top
Okay.
top picks, we can lightly go with running back, or if not, receiver, running back, receiver. You know,
Okay. Well done.
yeah.
Awesome. So, what about during the season, Jesse? What kind of research do you do? Like, do you listen to other podcasts? Do you just check the app? Do you read the news on like websites for fantasy football, or again, you just go with your gut feeling?
No, I didn't go. For example, this season I started a little slow. Um, but then I saw my players like being involved a lot, like especially my top picks: Murray, Kamara, Henderson, Deontay Johnson, even Dalvin Cook. You know, all these players are receiving a lot of targets. They're involved in a lot of action. I always look at the NFL, the ESPN fantasy app, the one that we have. I always look at the final the projections. I don't know what it was, but it was just this one week where I was ranked like 11. I didn't move 11 for like the first 4 weeks, and I don't know where I just boosted all the way up to like number 3,
Hmm.
and that gave me confidence. That gave me,
All right. Well,
and I
I
always
do.
read the little
uh,
news and transactions. I do that.
Yeah, I do want to mention that you don't have Delvin Cook, just so you
I
know.
was going to say real quick, is Dalvin Cook on your team?
Other cook. Or our receiver for the Texans. My
Maybe that's one of your problems. Uh,
Oh
and
man, yeah.
here's a fun question, and it's again a shout out to the top dog Ricardo here. So Jesse, when is the next trade with Ricardo coming? We know it's coming.
You know, I've withheld myself. I've locked. I ignore him when he comes to talk to me about trade. I just ignore him. That's just simple.
You
I
finally
feel
learned.
finally now. I feel now finally I'm getting over the hump, over that that nightmare that I had with him like 3 years ago. It was a nightmare. It was a big
It
nightmare.
was
The whole
great.
season was a nightmare. I didn't get over it for like the next 2 years. You know, now I'm
That's funny.
finally emerging as a star,
Yeah,
as you know,
you can finally talk
you know,
about it now. Yeah.
you're right. I could finally talk about it. That's right.
All
And let me
right.
tell you that I feel like my draft picks have always been good, but trading away to Ricardo has always messed it up for me.
We
Especially
said
that
that
one
before, yeah.
four player trade. Who does that? Who trades 4 players and a defense at the same time? Hmm.
We've said that before, man. Ricardo has the worst, one of the worst drafts, and he always has sometimes the best team because of Jesse helping him out. Listen, Jesse, we're going to hit you off with some trivia. Let's test your football knowledge within our fantasy world. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you the first question, and then Cruz is going to hit you with a couple more here. So first up, what is the top scoring defense in our league? It's multiple choice, Jesse. What is the top scoring defense in our league? Is it the Cardinals, Patriots, or the Bills?
Patriots.
And the Patriots is the fourth best defense.
No
Right?
way.
The Bills are the best right now with 14.8 average points. 0 for 1,
Yeah,
Jesse.
really? Okay.
Yeah, Bills is the best defense at the moment. Now, second question, Jesse. What QB has the most interceptions so far? And again, multiple choice. So what QB has the most interceptions so far? Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, where the Chiefs have been paying, I want to say Mahomes.
Is that your final
Mahomes?
answer?
Yeah.
That is correct, sir. Mahomes actually has 10 picks so far on the
It
season.
hurts my heart.
Lamar Jackson
Yeah,
has
man.
7, and Trevor Lawrence has 9. That being said, Mahomes has played one more game than these two guys, so Trevor Lawrence could still catch up.
All right. Now, Jesse, next one. What running back is averaging the most points? Is it your running back, Dalvin Cook, Cordell Patterson, or Ezekiel Elliott?
Averaging more points right now.
Right now in the league.
Ooh, I want to say Cordell Patterson.
Jesse is up on the fantasy knowledge. Cordell Patterson is averaging almost 17 points with 16.8. And keep in mind, Cordell Patterson was undrafted, and I believe the Brady's bunch picked him up on the waiver. Well done, Brady's bunch.
And I have one more question, just to see if winning actually matters. Let's see if winning actually matters. Jesse, could you name the last 3 champions of our league in order? So the last 3 champions of our league.
Okay. Starting with last year's, right?
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.
Then Danny.
Yes.
And then Mr. Blakemore.
Almost.
Oh,
It was Ricardo.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I
It was
haven't won
not
in
you.
4 years.
It was not you.
Holy shit. God, I'm
It's
beside
okay.
myself. I thought I won 3 years ago. All right.
Yeah. So that's all the trivia we have for you, Jesse. But we still have a little bit of fantasy football to talk about with the next week coming up. So what do we have next week, Commissioner?
Yeah, next week we actually have a special week. It's a prize week. Again, week 10 is our prize week, which is the Do Not Give Up week. Jesse alluded to it a little bit in the beginning, where you don't want to give up, you want to keep playing. The prize for this week will be the team with the most bench points. Team with the most bench points. Now, that does not include anybody on the IR. So if you have an IR guy that is now active and you keep him on the IR, that will not count. Only active bench rosters. Whoever has the most bench points will win the $20 for this week.
I just was thinking about something here. Funny enough, Steve is not having the best time. I mean, he could still get in, so I wouldn't suggest him to nuke his team and go for the most bench points and like put his starters on his bench. That being said, if Steve were to do that, he would actually already break even because he has won two of these things.
Yeah.
So that
He's
would be
looking all right.
$60 for him. But again, he's still in the hunt to actually get into the playoffs. He likes the playoffs. He's been there many times. So I wouldn't recommend anybody just go and fill in your bench spot just to get $20.
Yeah, you're going to want to have a deep team. All right. Jesse, one more question for you. Besides your team, which two teams do you think are the best teams? Besides your team, of course.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried about playing Danny this week. Even though Chubb came out, so his team took a little hit. I would say, now if you don't mind me, just going to this app real fast. I will say.
Well, Jesse's looking that up. I would just want to say that it's been fun so far to play, even though I lost having the fourth most points this week. And I know the commissioner and I we were talking about this, and he was like saying you play the person in front of you, but which is true.
Am I wrong?
Which is true. But you bums couldn't even break 100, and some of you guys got W's. So I'm a little bit salty about that.
You had to play. You got unfortunate luck playing the Sharks, who's just been blowing up on the points.
And yeah, where was my Nick Chubb on COVID? You know, where was that for me?
Yeah, I have his backup, the Dearness Johnson, on my team. I just saw this morning, so that might help out. Jesse, have you found your teams yet? Which two teams do you think are the best?
Honestly, I think the ones I like Stacy's team a lot, and I like John's Houston, and they're right in the middle of the pack.
Okay, middle of the pack.
Interesting.
The Funsies and the Brady's Bunch. Cool.
That's it.
Well done.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Jesse, I want to thank you. Thank you for joining the podcast today. You're a good sport, and thanks for the insight knowledge into Jesse's world. And we love talking about Jesse's team.
Wow, awesome.
Thank you, guys. So this is six wins gets you to be a guest here in the podcast again.
That's what it feels. Yeah. We'll send you the goodie bag. You know, like
the swag.
Yeah, it's swag bag.
I love you guys.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Take care.
Fun season.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Bye.
See you, Jesse.
The last years, I've averaged top 10 in the whole league.
Top 10? There's only 12 teams.
Yeah, well, there's only 12 teams.
Right. I mean, no, I'm sorry. Like
sounds right.
Top 12. No, like about what I say.
Sounds right.